Hello everybody and welcome to the video. Today's video is going to be all about fishing. Starting out, you want to go to your inventory button or the tilde key and open up quests. Come to the second farming building area, and on the top side, you have the fishing tree. You're going to click the barrel, and you can see when you make a barrel, you'll get a free villager spawn egg. This is how you make the barrel. Just like so, 6 planks and 2 slabs. Makes barrel. You'll get a villager, place him on a white seat so he doesn't move, and you have access to the fishing stuff. Now then, you can get the fishing rod one of 2 ways. Step 1 is either get 4 gold coins, come to the fisher guy, and then you can buy a fishing rod. Or if you go to the ocean area, you can find a chest that potentially has fishing rods, like the sunken chests or the sunken ships, whatnot. So how you fish? Simply, you can either go to a river or an ocean or wherever, or just make a 4x hole and throw the bobber in, and then you can just catch fish just like so. Now you guys probably noticed that I don't have the minigame. I do have a separate video showing how to turn off the minigame if you don't like it. It'll be in the description down below or in the comments. But what it normally looks like will be like this. You'll be fishing normally, but when you catch the fish, you'll be in a minigame. Now in the minigame, there's a bar. You have to have the fish inside the bar. To move the bar up, you have to hold down the mouse button, like left or right click. To let it go down, you let go. If you want it to be in the middle, just tap it. Occasionally, there'll be a chest that appears. If you catch the chest, you have to obviously have it in the bar. And you have to catch the fish to be able to secure the chest. And it's worth some money, so sometimes worth getting. Now then, if you do have the minigame off, you can potentially AFK fish. Credits to Taffy, because that's what I saw him do in a video. What you'll need is 2 chests or a barrel or whatnot, a hopper for things to go inside, a fence on top of it, and a weighted pressure plate on top of that, water, a note block, which is required, and a random block. And how it'll look like is like this, right? Chests, hopper going into the chest, then fence, and then weighted. You put the note block down, a plank or whatever, and the iron trap door, and make sure this hole is empty. It should look exactly like this. No water coming to the sides, or it won't work. Next, just come over here, and you're going to kind of look near the bottom of the trapdoor. You can kind of see 2 different gradients, and you're just right-clicking and you're holding it. You can put an object now on your right mouse button. Eventually, fish will be caught. And we'll just keep doing this until that happens. There you go. 5 experience orbs, and then if you look down here, I caught a minnow, it seems, among other things. So, it does work. Do remember, different fishes are caught in different biomes. So, you catch stuff in the rivers, you can catch stuff in the oceans. Different seasons, for instance, you can catch summer fish versus winter fish. That all matters. Some can be caught during the rain, some can be caught during just daytime. To upgrade the fishing rod, you'll come over to the blacksmiths and you're going to have to buy some stuff, but this is what the recipe looks like. You need the iron upgrade for the normal rod and an iron bar, and then same thing for the iron and for the gold rod, and then for the Neptunium. And you can buy the Neptunium from the fisher himself. Right here, it costs 131k. And just so you guys get proof of concept, just come over to the smithing table, shift click all of them and they'll go in the right spots. And then there you go, I could grab it. Iron fishing rod. Now then, for the tackle box, you'll need 2 netherite coins and you can buy them from the fisher guy. And at the minimum, you need an iron rod. So don't even bother buying one unless you have an iron rod. Because you grab a fishing rod, you can't do anything to it. But you grab the fishing rod, you can. Or the iron fishing rod, you can. And you can stick all your, fishing stuff needs in here. There is a little glitch for these ones down low. For instance, shift click does not work on them, but you can do the same for up top. So you can just manually do that. I'm pretty sure that may be fixed here in the future, but that's what that is. And then you just put your rod there, and then you could just change stuff interchangeably. You know, like I want this deluxe crab thing to get more deluxe crab bait. There you go. You know, I don't like that minnow. I want a worm to be my bait, right? I could just do that. Or that bobber. I want to know what fish I'm catching, you know? Stuff like that. And feel free to go look at all the things yourselves. Alrighty, to get your first aquamarine, come to the quests. Here you go, aquamarine. It's geodes in the caves, and this is what it looks like, kind of like you can maybe find this underground in the caves. This is in the nether, and this is under the skull cavern. Or you can fish, and like the treasure chest will give them to you, potentially. And then comes the crab traps. Crab traps are a passive way of catching stuff, and what you'll need is 2 safety nets, some 3 zinc, 2 slabs, and that aquamarine. This is what your first trap will look like. To get the safety nets, I was, before I used the bamboo, but it's even easier. Somebody said you can just use a flint knife, which is just flint and a stick, come to grass, let me turn off my game mode, and then just start breaking it. You know, there you go. There was 1 straw, there was 2, 5 now. And what you'll do is like that. You get 4, 8, put them down there, and then there you go. Enough to make a crab trap. Alright, this is what a proper crab trap looks like. If you place it down in a 3x3, you need water surrounding it. Then you can right click it and put crab trap bait in it. And crab traps are pretty cool because, well, you can get puddle slime hearts worth 7,000, among other things. Now, this is great and all, but the problem is they don't stack in here. So my design is not amazing by all means, is if you have a lot of bait, you could just stick a hopper, you know, and it will just automatically just feed in the bait. And then you could just stick a hopper underneath it and a chest, and then there you go. As well as, this is how you're going to get Neptunium nuggets. Alrighty, for the future crab traps though, now that you have your first one, you should be getting clams. So you'll be getting pearls in replace of the aquamarine. And how you get the pearls is you need a cutting board. Now what you need a cutting board for is 2 sticks, earth crystals, and 2 planks. Earth crystals look like this on the floor, so that's what you'll need. Next, you'll just grab your knife, right click it, and you have a small chance of getting the pearl. Just grab a couple. Oh, there we go. We got our first one. Worth 64 gold, but I would just recommend just doing on the crab traps. And what I am using for this is that flint knife that we just used prior. Place down the clam, and then right click. To get your crab bait, you can come to the fisherman, and you can just buy it with zinc 2 for 1. And that way you get 32. And then what you can do is, let me just turn that off. Put this in your crafting inventory, and you just get crab bait, and then you could just stick it in your traps. Or what you can do is buy a worm farm for 1 gold. Where are you? All the way down here, 1 gold for this worm farm. And then what you can do sequentially is come to this guy and buy kelp. Now this takes a little bit more work, but what you can do then is kelp is worth 1 zinc, and this is worth 2. And then you could just come here, take kelp, and do it 1 to 1. It's going to be more tedious, but you can just do 1 and then right click. And then just keep doing this over and over, and you'll get a 100% on the worms itself. You can also, if you don't like it that way, you can stick a hopper over it, like so, and then stick all the kelp in there, and then you could just hold right click instead of, having to, switch back and forth. A bit easier this way, I would say. Now then, as fun as that is to, get worms and whatnot, this is the rates for the worms, right? So if under the crafting table or your own inventory, one worm is 1 crab bait, a minnow is 4 crab bait, and a leech is 16. Or if you do a millstone, there's other recipes, but I just did the millstone. You can get double. For here, I think this is actually, oh, that's messed up. Basically, I think the minnow is actually 16 and then the leech is 32. So if you come down here, here's the millstone, right? You'll need a cogwheel, andesite casing, stone, or, other stuff. Now, how you get the cogwheel is you need a shaft and a plank. If you don't know how to make the shafts, you need 2 andesite alloys. Now, if you don't know how to make the andesite alloys, you need 2 andesites and an iron coin, and you'll get 2 andesite alloys. But if you don't know where to get andesite, or you just can't find any, you can do 1 diorite and 1 cobblestone, and you'll get 2 andesite. Now then, how do you get the andesite casing itself, right? Well, you just need to get a log, and you right-click it with an axe. So I would grab this axe, and I would right-click it, and it becomes this. And then you would grab this andesite alloy that you already have, and then you right-click the stripped log, and it becomes that. So this is what it would look like, right? I would right-click, andesite alloy, bam, completed. And then I could just mine this with either a pickaxe or an axe. And I got andesite alloy, or andesite casing. Now then, now that we have our millstone, well, how do you make it work? Well, you'll want to go ahead and make another small cogwheel, or just a cogwheel. So you'll need to make those shafts again, 2 andesite alloys. And make a big cogwheel, like so, shaft and then 2 planks, makes the large cogwheel. You'll want a hand crank, which is 3 planks and andesite alloy. And you'll get something like this. Now to start off, what it'll look like will just be, millstone, this guy, and that guy. Let me just quickly do this. It will look like this, this, like that, and the crank on top. And how it works is, if you threw stuff inside, it would go inside, technically speaking. You can do that, and then it would, mill it, and then you could right-click it, and you'll get your stuff. But it gets old and not very efficient, I would say. But what you can do is come and make a mechanical press, which is a shaft, the andesite casing, which we kind of learned right over there, and a block of iron. You'll place this up in the air and stick a hand crank, which is again 3 planks and an andesite alloy. And you'll grab some iron. You can grab, a couple. You'll put it underneath, and then you'll just right click, and you can see this thing go down and it smashes our iron. Now you'll only need 2, but you could just, theoretically just hold right click. And it does chunk on your food, so be wary of that. But you'd grab that and it'll make the iron sheet. To make the chute, you need iron sheet on top and bottom and an iron ingot, and you'll get 4 chutes. Now going back to the thing, what you'd want to do is that same setup, but stick a chute on top of it, and then stick a barrel on top of that, or a chest, and then a hopper underneath going into here. Now, that same idea before where we were grinding our worms, this takes a little bit longer, but you'll get double the work, right? So it'll drop it in here. You can see it now in the millstone. I'm just take those worms out. And now you can just right click it and you can see it is grinding the millstone, or it's grinding the worms in the millstone with those particles. And just that little amount right there, now we're at, 25, 26. You can see it going. And you could just sit here and do this the whole time. And, since you're getting double, it is kind of worth it. But you don't need to stick just worms in here. Remember, you could stick those minnows or leeches in here for faster crab trap bait. Now to turn your crab bait into deluxe, you'll need to make a deluxe worm farm. Now that costs 4 blocks of zinc, 2 blocks of pearls, an aquamarine, and a Neptunian ingot. So to make this, you already need to have, use your crab traps for quite a bit to get all this stuff. The zinc you could just buy from the blacksmith, so that's not too big of a deal. But what it does is you'll take your crab trap bait, put it in here, and then after a day or so, I think that's what it says, right? Or less than a day, you can take crab trap bait. Now, I'm not really sure if this is faster or whatnot. I didn't really fully understand it, but you can get an infinity worm, let it work without inputs. So I believe now it can be a automatic. No, I mean that seemed faster. I'm not sure. Let me know what that means. Like maybe just faster. Moving on. Once you unlock the boiler room quest, which is under here, you go into the bundles, boiler room. You complete all these things, you'll get a kinetic blueprint. And to use that, that thing's actually the opener for automatic stuff. For instance, the auto worm farm. You can see it already has 213 worms inside of it. And how to make that is, 4 iron ingots, a battery, 2 of those worms from over there, and a mushroom soil with the precision mechanism. Now, to get the batteries, again, you need to make a charging rod, 2 netherite coins, a lightning rod, 2 zinc ingots, 3 blocks of zinc, and a blaze lantern. Blaze lantern is 5 blaze powders and rods all around. And yeah. Mushroom soil, a little bit more confusing, but you can buy the alpine salt from the composter guy, and then the organic mush by putting jam and mushrooms into fermentation jars, and then you'll get organic mush. For instance, this is the fermentation jar. You go in here, you can put a honey bottle and a mushroom, and in 2 minutes, you'll get that mush. And there you go. It did turn into the organic mush, and you just do that a few more times, and you're golden. But why make the auto worm farm? Well, once you have the whole automatic system, I'll not go too into detail, but you just make a water wheel, put water in one source, then it starts to move. You make a vertical gearbox, stick a shaft between them, put the large cog wheel, the small cog wheel, the mill, everything the same apart from hopper on top of our old chest and the auto worm farm. Just so if you get, fish or bait or whatever you want to just put in here manually, you could do that so. And this is just concept. You can make this look nicer. And then you could see while we're going, it's already made 418 bait. So what the bait maker does is if you put, for instance, leech, right? Inside, after some time, you'll get leech bait, 6 of them. You stick it in a crab trap and it catches leeches and only leeches. And you can do this with any fish. As you can see, it says in any season or location. So you can even catch like another fish, put it in here, and even though it's not surrounded in lava, it can catch the nether fish. Next is the bait maker. Now how you make this is, again, a little bit further in, you'd need crab traps, but you need a Neptunium ingot, 1 netherite coin, 4 zinc, the seed maker, and 2 pearl block. And to make the seed maker, again, netherite coin, the composter, 2 pine tar, and an earth crystal. Now, how you get pine tar? Well, what you'll need is a tap and a bucket. To make the tap, you need 3 copper ingots like so, and 2 earth crystals. And you could either use a wooden bucket or an iron bucket. For the wooden one, 2 planks and a slab, or normal bucket, 3 iron ingots like so. And this is what I did for my build. Put a chest or a barrel, stick a hopper pointing to it, have the log, stick the thing in it, which is you just right click. Same thing with the bucket. You just right click it and it goes there, and then it will just automatically harvest it. You could do multiples like so, but you have to remember, for instance, this, right? The speed modifier is 1, so it's not slowed down whatsoever. This has a tap on every side of them, so 4 of them, but it's 0.14. 0.14. So way longer for that. Just remember, so is that like almost 8 times longer, 7 times? So keep that in mind. So honestly, better to just log or 1 tap per each log. And then what most of you guys are probably here for is the fish pond, which you buy for 8 netherite coins. And once you get further into it, if you don't want to spend money, you can just do 4 oak resin, netherite coins, 2 pearls, a Neptunian ingot, and a wooden water bucket to make it. How it works is you need a 3x4 filled with either water or lava, for normal fishes or nether fishes. Now then, it doesn't work. Your thing may be having multiple things. So for instance, like I put a leech in here, right? You have a red thing pop up and you come up to it and you right click it and it says, oh, it doesn't work. It needs either, like the nether fish needs lava or it's not a 3x4 or something. Well, first things first is your fishing pond the correct placement? For instance, if there's water in here, like so, you want this thing outside. So this would not work, okay? This has to be like this. Because you have to think about it, right? The fishes are coming out of this little hole right here, right? Second thing would be, do you have the right thing? Kind of like what you saw, right? This guy needs a valid pond. So it's a leech, so he requires just water. And then it was good. And the yellow, all that means is they have a little task. So he wants raw beef to feel more welcomed. And you can see, right? I have 3 leeches in there. If I were to grab some raw beef and give it to him, it will expand now. So now it's now 5. Now I do have my game speed a little bit faster. Your things won't grow that fast. But same thing. And it's like, it goes from 3 to 5 to 7, I believe, and then to 9. Okay, so how it works. You can either dig a hole in like that, or you can just make one. So, go out by 4, make it so it's gonna be 3 wide, and then finish it off like so. Next, you want to break one of the middle blocks. Place that down. Make sure, again, the chute is pointing out. These guys are inside. Next, you want your water. Place it inside. Then, grab your fish. For instance, the triple whirl pleco. Right-click it. And since I am in creative mode, it didn't go away, but it would go inside. And you can see there's one in there. And it will slowly expand. 1 will turn into 2. 1 will turn into 3. Yada, 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 all the way up to 9 or 12 or however much it is. I think 9 is the maximum. But what you can do now is, right, so there's 2 of them there now. I could just shift, take 1 out, and you could see he's still in there. And I could just grab them both out. And I could just expand it, right? I could stick it in this one or make another farm now with them and another, and then just sell the fish like that. Or if you take care of them, right, every now and then they will drop you row among other items. And you can always check that by going to your inventory, hover over your fish, and press U on it. And then up here, scroll to where you find the fish farming. And for instance, the triple whirl pleco, right? You could hover over it. It's going to give me row worth 88 coins. Or as long as there's 4 fish in there, it has a 27% chance to give me 4 ender pearls. At 6 population or more, I can get these void steel bars. I could get these scaffolding. I could get these ladders. And then at 8 or more, I can get these void steel ingots. That's how that works. But randomly, they'll want, as you can see, Eye of Ender. So we have to go and get them Eye of Enders. Grab them, give them the 8, and that they say, oh, it makes us really feel at home, right? You can grab it. And you can see now they're at 5. Now eventually, again, they'll say, oh, there you go. What do we want? Now they want 4 netherite scrap. Netherite scrap. Grab some of that. Feed them up. Oh, they feel great at home, right? Now you can see, now it's 5 out of 7. I'll put that fish in there. You can see they're 7 out of 7. And now again, game speed is sped up. Your thing's not going to grow this fast. But eventually it'll now say, another thing to make them feel at home. And then you'll get that full 9 fish. And then what you can do is just take all the fish out if you wanted to. Leave the one in there. And start all over. Right? There you go. Leave him at that. And then he'll slowly just grow. You can just sell off these fish. Just like that. Now maybe you want to make a little bit more off your fish pond. As you can see, they're really making it a bunch. But they give you a row. Now every fish, whatnot, has its own row. And if you have 5 of them, you can stick it in the preserves jar. How you make that is you need fire logs, a barrel, 2 pine tars, 2 blocks of coal, and 1 block of iron. How you make the fire logs is you just take 6 logs, like so, and you get fire logs, and you need to do that for 3 of them. But once you have your 5 row, you could, press U and see it. In 2 days, you'll get aged triple pleco worth 1280 versus 440. So you just, turn off my thing, right click, 5 goes away, puts a little hood on, and you wait. And then over here, I just right click, and there you go. And then you can make a fish smoker. You'll need 4 fire logs, another coin, 2 aquamarines, and a neptunium ingot and a smoker in the middle to make the fishing smoker. And how it works is you can take your fish, right click it, and in 2 days, it will cook it up. Now the reason why you want to do that is because, yeah, you could just use the normal smoker, right? But you're only going to get a cooked unusual fillet worth 96. But if you wait the 2 days, what you'll get is a smoked triple worth 832. So that is an idea right there also. Alrighty, well, that was all of it. It was a bit of a doozy, but I hope it did give you the basics of the fishing whatsoever. If I did miss something, do let me know in the comments, or if I got something wrong, just write in the comments, let me know. I'll be sure to update it in maybe a comment or in the description. But if you do enjoy these types of videos, do hit the subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. And that's honestly about it. See you in the next one.